Yo, YouTube, what's going on? It's your boy, FaZe. We are back with another video, guys, and today, man, we are talking about the future of competitive COD and what the COD League has to do if they want to survive long term, make it 5-10 years and beyond, and truly compete and kind of elevate themselves to be one of the elite esports in the world with the likes of like CSGO, League of Legends. But with so much money invested into the COD League from all these owners and so much more, the COD League has to grow, and there's so much opportunity for competitive COD when you look at the player base that Call of Duty has as a whole. You know, 20, 30, 40 million users per year, people who bought the game in some way. There is so much opportunity for competitive COD to grow, so we're going to talk about how to make it happen in this video. There's a ton of innovation that can still be made with Call of Duty as an esport, with how the league is organized, with how the league is broadcasted, and with how the league is marketed to the fans and engages with the fans in the future. Without further ado, I'm excited to talk about it, so let's get right into it. Let's go. So first, let's talk about how the league is organized. So right now, it's based off like a regular season tournament schedule where they have 8 of the 12 teams participate in tournaments, which basically what it works out to be like every other week. So far, I've enjoyed it as a whole, and the homestand system with the events live in person before the whole quarantine thing hit. The home series were a ton of fun. It was exciting for sure.
Minnesota Rokkr, tied game. GoDirect push it out. They take it, or do they? Or do they? They do. They do. Minnesota Rokkr for the second time in a row take Atlanta FaZe to a game 5.
This format can work long term, but I truly do think to set yourself apart, you need to make sure that every single homestand feels like a full-on tournament as a whole without just feeling like an event. I think in the future, this format could work really, really well if there were more than 12 teams in the league. But right now, with only having 12 teams in the league, it seems very manageable for you to be able to do like full tournaments throughout the year and figure something out in that way. The format itself could definitely be improved to create more drama, to make each match and each game and each tournament feel more exciting versus feeling like a league match in some instances, and some teams are just playing the same teams over and over and over with how it works out. So hopefully we can figure out a way to make that and change that up in the future as well. The other thing with how the league is actually organized would be the amateur scene as a whole. I mean, the heart of the Call of Duty scene has been the amateur scene the past, decade or so, with how competitive Call of Duty is organized with open bracket tournaments, and basically the excitement that any team, any squad of 5 could find their way into the pro league if they were successful in the amateur scene was what was so exciting. And obviously that's never going to exist in the same way with franchising now as it is, but there has to be a way to implement some sort of pro and am combination in some sort with some type of tournament like what golf does. They do the US Open every single year where AMs, the best AMs, can compete and qualify to play against the pros once per season. And I think that's exactly what the Call of Duty League should do in some way, where the teams that are currently organized to have the most pro points in a pool play style tournament against all the pros at least once per year, give those amateur teams a chance to prove that they're worthy of playing with and against the pros. Connecting the audience of the pro scene to the audience of the amateur scene is really, really important, and it acclimates you to those names before they end up being in the pros, like what college football does for the NFL, like what high school football does for college football. It's all in the same way, and we need to develop that system more in Call of Duty. So let's move on to the broadcast and the whole experience of competitive COD when it comes to intaking the league as a whole from a consumer aspect. So something that I really, really miss is the access to the players in game, or like their comms and how they're talking with each other throughout the matches. Esports has the opportunity to, and 100% should double down on kind of pulling back that veil and showing the access to the players, hearing their comms mid-game more often than we already do. I know we do like the listen-ins, the Astro Gaming listen-ins once in a while, but that could be magnified by a multitude of 5 or 10.
Pretty calm and collected.
Pretty calm. That's what you want to hear. You don't want to hear them panicking. Honestly, though,
fucking how bad do we
Crimsix.
Yep.
Let's go, dude.
Do we practice so long?
Crimsix is so key.
Yeah. Good. Let's get it, guys. Yeah.
Formal trying to motivate his teammates. Scumpy as well. Gotta look at him.
You guys know it's a fucking biolab, dude? We're up by 190. We're screaming.
Yeah.
So that's fucking going Super Saiyan, dude. Scream and we will fucking win, dude.
Super Saiyan mode.
I understand they're trying to get these sponsorships, they're trying to be sponsor and brand friendly, but at some point you have to be able to push the barriers and show the people what they want to hear. And we want to hear the drama, we want to hear the smack talk, we want to hear those players getting fired up during the matches and taking their shots and their digs at the opposing teams. I want to hear Temp throw on that smack talk mid-game, but we don't get to hear it because brands are scared that it's not going to be brand appropriate, which of course that is a real concern. But if we can figure out a way to like be able to still do that and juggle the brand friendliness at the same time, whether that's maybe having a small delay so that producers can bleep out things that shouldn't be said, or in some sort of way like that, that would be fantastic, because I truly believe that the personalities in the Call of Duty scene is one thing that 100% separates us from so many other esports, because so many of these guys could carry a franchise with the personality that they are, but unfortunately, because they're not making content and the CoD League's not showcasing their personalities enough, we don't get to see that very often, except through Twitter drama, which Call of Duty is undefeated in. So on that same line of thinking, I mean, like, post-game interviews or mid-game interviews need to happen more often. Don't be afraid to push the boundaries with those questions to create some drama, and tell the players to like really engage with it and like have some fun with it. I mean, the players seem scared to do it for whatever reason, whether it's from the league, whether it's just from their brand trying to be friendly with all the players, whatever it is, with how the league's set up, they want to make sure they don't burn those bridges. But at the same time, the league needs to be excited about or encouraging drama in some way to further create those storylines for the fans. So obviously this next thing is kind of about the budget and how this all plays out, but like some type of weekly reality show about the players would be amazing. Some way to, again, create storylines, help the casual fans get to know the players and create those relationships, which I think we're starting to see the beginning of that with some of the content that they were doing for the homestands. But a lot of that fell onto the team's shoulders to be able to do and showcase off their own teams. But I would love to see the CoD League itself creating more content in that regard and like really creating those storylines about the players and the teams versus each other in a lot of different ways. Because again, the storylines are there, they just got to be shown. So when it comes to the broadcast itself, I would again love to see what other sports are able to do right now, and what CoD has done in the past is be able to sift through different POVs of different players while the match is going on. I think that's really, really important. If a guy is tuning in just to watch Scump, then he should be able to just watch Scump. In a perfect world, and in the literal ideal world, you would literally be able to hear Scump's comms with the rest of the team during that whole time. I understand why that may not be possible live, but at least if they're able to release like the games with the players' comms overlaid over them and maybe edit it a little bit, so that of course you edit out all the parts that maybe not, that shouldn't, or you know, maybe you mute them in parts where they're saying things they shouldn't be said or other things. But we need to have more access to the players during the matches, because that's some of the cool stuff we've seen. The Huntsmen posted a video of their in-game comms for their last tournament, which was awesome.
Yeah, able to find Arcedes, but now it's all down to Yumness. He only has to get a killer.
No, you're good. Couldn't quite finish it. Did he hop off? He did hop off it for a second. He's right back on it. Get up there. Go. He's got to go. He got to it. Can he get there in time? Can he get there in time? Let's go! Let's go, baby! Go, Fierce!
Top. I'm one shot.
Open.
Still
Bottom.
bottom.
Well, there, he's charging.
Two.
You have time.
That's guy top.
Nice.
Let's go!
Disgusting, bro.
Oh, that's what I like to see. Good shit. The Scump of old right there. The scrim player, bro. He's a scrim player.
Come on, baby!
Come on, baby!
Yo, we were fucking, me and Seth were smoking them on P2.
Holy shit.
Hey, congrats, guys.
If every team was able to do that, or we were able to get more of that from the league itself, I think people would absolutely love that, and love to see that communication and that banter mid-game with the players. The other thing that I think esports could really capitalize on is in-game stats live in the broadcast. So if you're able to like literally sift through live updating stats in the broadcast itself as a tab that is explorable with pretty in-depth stats about certain things. So I really think that's an advantage that hopefully CoD can start doubling down on here in the future, with the ability to pull stats straight from the game onto the broadcast, with people being able to interact with those stats would be just awesome. So I really hope that that's in the cards for competitive Call of Duty, because I think that's just one advantage you can have over sports right now, is being more and more interactive with these broadcasts, which is what online or watching online should allow you to do. But I think part of that is limiting with the YouTube situation right now with the Call of Duty League broadcasting on YouTube. Twitch, I think, has a little bit more ability to do that right now versus YouTube. So hopefully YouTube can catch up in that regard with the broadcast, because it's just absolutely necessary moving forward. So let's talk about how to connect the community to the competitive scene. So obviously a lot of this with Call of Duty, I mean, there are millions of Call of Duty players out there, but yet only a few 100,000 watch competitive COD. Like, you know, if you're selling like 20, 30, 40 million games per year, but yet only a few 100,000 are watching competitive Call of Duty. So we need to be able to figure out a way to translate those casual players into competitive fans. We literally don't have to go outside of the current reach of Call of Duty to get our fans, unlike what other games might have to do. Call of Duty has a massive advantage in that regard. We just have to convert the casuals to competitive fans, which starts with league play in-game every single year at launch. Bro, Call of Duty, if you guys aren't familiar, if you guys are just watching this from like an outsider esport perspective, Call of Duty hasn't had a ranked play or a league play system in basically like half our games. So Call of Duty World War II eventually had one. It didn't come out release. That was solid. It had its problems, but it was better than most. Call of Duty Black Ops 4s, which was last year's game, didn't come out until February. Like, the rank play didn't come out until February, and it had a terrible system. It didn't even make sense, and like, it's nothing like any normal rank play system. This current game, Modern Warfare, does not have one. And previous titles like Black Ops 3 had a very casual league play system. Like, technically it had one, but it was really, really janky. It didn't work very well, and personally, no one really liked it that much. Then you go back to like Infinite Warfare didn't have one. AW had one, but it wasn't that good. You could use variants inside the game, and like, it was just weird. Ghost didn't have one, and then Black Ops 2 did have one, which people absolutely love. So we basically had like 3.5-ish, 4 out of the last like 8 Call of Duties have had like a ranked play of some sort. Only 2, maybe only 1 would qualify as good ranked play systems. COD's been in a rough spot there. That is priority number 1, a ranked play at launch from Call of Duty that is promoted by the developers themselves. Then what we're starting to see a little bit more of now is like in-game skins, really cool skins. This year's skins were pretty average at best, but like dope custom skins for all the COD teams. Then you can earn and unlock things as you watch the broadcast, which is starting to come out this year as well. So we need more and more of that in-game content promoting the competitive Call of Duty scene in some way, because if you're getting killed by this skin that you don't know what it is, and you're like, what is this skin, dude? This guy is insane. Why is he frying me? It's because he's wearing these competitive skins and he's nasty at the game. So we just need more and more of that, and the cooler the skins, the better. I mean, there's a lot more ways that you could like promote in-game. Imagine at some point in-game where you could literally play as pro player skins in game. Like, you could play as an operator that is OpTic Scumpy. Well, I guess now, you know, Huntsman Scumpy, and play as Scumpy, or play as Dashy, or whoever it is, Crimsix, Clayster, name the player, insert the player here. You could play as them in game. That would be amazing. That's probably a ways down the road, but at some point that would just be awesome, and I would absolutely love to see that for competitive Call of Duty. The last few ideas I have here are allowing like influencer watch parties for the broadcast itself. I know this is kind of like a personal one for me, because I absolutely love doing watch parties, but of course, because of the broadcast rights, you're not allowed to show the gameplay live when you're live streaming it. So like, if I'm doing a watch party, I have to just literally show myself. I can't show the gameplay itself. But in my opinion, I fully 100% believe that it only grows the competitive scene. It only makes it more interesting to watch, because if you can watch the CoD League with your favorite creator watching it with you instead of just watching it by yourself in your room, I guarantee you more people are going to watch as a whole, with more eyes on the scene, more merch will be sold. You know, overall, the numbers are only going to be better. So maybe they can start sponsoring people to do this, or in some way figure out a way that you can actually host your own watch parties, maybe just on YouTube for it. That would be amazing. In some way where that would be illegal, a legally allowed process would be just awesome. And I hope they can figure out something like that, because I truly believe that's a way that you can help grow the scene, is if you can have like COD content creators, pay them to watch the games, like Dismo, or any of these like big pub stomper guys like Korean Savage, or any of those guys, Carnage Clan, literally anyone that does pubs content like that. If you would pay them to do these watch parties and watch competitive COD, that would only help increase and build the scene as a whole. So I don't understand that. Another marketing idea is to pay these pubs content creators to do content with pro players. Like, I guarantee you a collab with like Dismo or Korean Savage, or insert creator here again, with like Scump or Skrapz, or you could even do like Maven or TP, anyone associated with the competitive Call of Duty scene, any pro player, any caster. Like, all these guys have some good personalities that would be fun to make content with, and I'm sure that these guys who make these pubs content could make awesome content with like a Scump or anyone else. And so hopefully down the road we can figure out a way to like create that type of sponsored content, or hopefully the pros can go out of their way to make it happen themselves, because that would be ideal. but you know, I'm not banking on that anytime soon. Of course, another way to promote the league is to have all the pros enforce this in some way, to enforce the pros to stream or to make YouTube videos, like actually like enforce it. Like, okay, you are a pro in this league, you have to stream X hours per week, you have to upload, you know, 1 video a week onto your personal channel or something, I don't know. And, you know, in some way you could actually enforce that and like literally put your pro players to work in promoting your own league, which would be big brain plays. But no league has gone out to try to do that so far, and I think, in my opinion, would be a great way to create a league from the ground up is by enforcing that if you're going to be a part of the league. So I'm sure there's plenty of other ideas out there. If you have other ideas, drop them down below. I mean, man, I'm just so passionate. I want this COD league to succeed. I want competitive COD to last for as long as possible. Obviously, I'm trying to do content about this full time, but I can't do content full time if the COD league doesn't last full time, and I can't do content full time if you guys don't support it. So I really do appreciate all the support on these videos. If you guys like the video, like, comment, share it, subscribe, everything else. I appreciate all of the interaction, everything else. It really does mean a lot to me and goes a long way supporting the channel. So as always, guys, I'm your boy Salvation Elite, and we will see you next time. I'm out.